everybody. This is Dan Pascucci, and welcome to another exciting edition of Kitchen Sink TV. As usual, we are broadcasting from the Easton Cable Access Studios in Easton, Mass. We're going to talk a little bit about something pretty much everybody loves, and we're going to talk about something everybody can relate to, and that's a real good heaping helping of Americana. And what we've got here is if you were around during the late 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the early 70s, or you had parents around and they all knew about it, there was a place in Norwood, Mass. Called Norwood Arena. Norwood Arena was a very famous racetrack. It was built in the late 40s. It shut down in 1972. And so there's going to be an actual movie about the Norwood Arena, and it's going to be an awesome movie. And actually the producers of the movie, and two real good guys, a couple of Norwood guys that know their stuff. I'm going to introduce the producers, Jerry Kelleher.
Dan, thank you for having us.
And Brendan King, how are
Dan,
you?
thank you very much for having us.
So, NorwoodArenaMovie.com.
The idea was we were going to make some little vignettes about Norwood history, bygone era stuff, and we're local to the town, and I was a selectman for a long time, and Brendan's been in business, and he's been a resident his whole life too. And we just thought, why don't we make a few little movies for maybe for cable, similar to what you do. And how about the first one, Norwood Arena? That was a bygone era. That was a nice facility. A lot of people knew about it, so we started to collect some information. Next thing you knew, it just exploded, and it was beyond our wildest dreams of what we came up with. And it turns out it was a very prominent track in the history of NASCAR. It was the biggest venue for entertainment outside of Fenway Park, halfway between Fenway and Gillette Stadium. Today was Norwood Arena, and it held 15,000 people on a Saturday night or Fridays for drag racing, Saturdays for stock cars, and it just took off from there. And one person said, call this guy, call this woman, call this person, and we got memorabilia from all over the country, and we're putting it together.
Right. But Jerry's the actual. He's the video graphics guy.
Yeah.
I'm the car guy. But what you had was the war had ended, World War II, and you had a lot of veterans returning to America. They had some money, and the cars that were on the road at the time were now going to be replaced by new cars that these veterans needed, along with housing and things like that. So the jalopies, if you will, became, hey, all of a sudden it wasn't just Norwood, it happened all across the country, the middle part of the country, the Midwest and the South. Racing began.
How does that work out for you? Getting all the memorabilia and the old stories and.
Well, I'm a storyteller, so I do some writing and things like that, and I've been collecting. I have well over 1,000 photographs that people have given me from all over the country. I have home movies from someone in California gave me. There was an old black and white film of some of the demolition derbies made over 50 years ago. So I've been able to, get the permission to use those things, and then just on interviews. Now we've been working on this thing for probably a year and a half. Been all over New York and Massachusetts and New England, tracking down people, and one leads to another. It's really it's a discovery process, and the people are very willing to share the stories. The thing was, we weren't imposing on anyone. They want it told. They feel that, and now that we know them, the stories deserve to be told.
Oh,
They're very interesting people. Right. Yeah, what they tell us that the drag strip was the death of Noel of the arena days. It was 25 years. It was open for car shows and things, and the problem was that jet dragsters that they put. They lit up the whole town, and it really aggravated the selectmen and the residents. And the town was getting built out too, so it became like people could live with the track, but then when they started putting drag strip in there,
and because they ran those cars till 11:30, sometimes midnight.
And that's in the movie, yeah.
And that'll be in the movie.
And as Jerry said, we thought in the beginning we'd be able to create something. The town of Norwood has no history on this track, and we know John Grove. He's with the Norwood Historical Society. And he's looked and done his research on his own. There's been nothing there. So we thought we'd just contribute to that side. And all of a sudden, as Jerry said, we kicked over a rock, and there was a great story there.
Wow.
Fastest track in the East for midgets. And they would get big shows. They would get 30, 40 cars a night. The problem being is the cars weren't very safe then, the midgets. They had pressurized fuel systems. The crash fences are made out of wood planks. And there was always, if they flipped and if that fuel tank ruptured, the poor driver. There was a lot of fires. It was bad. But it was a lot of fun. It was good racing, very, very competitive. A lot of those guys graduated into modifieds. The midgets at that time didn't have roll bars. They had a little teeny bit of reinforced rod behind them. They were open wheel, so if you run over somebody, you usually ran over somebody up and over. They did a lot of flipping, just the nature of the thing, and they didn't really have a brake pedal. The brake was a hand crank on the left side, and some of the drivers would know who was braking if they could see that left hand outside of the car moving. But when they did flips, there was arms flying in the breeze because of the open cockpit and the open wheel, but they were fun to watch.
And just like that, we're back. That was some great midget racing. Just so you know, those were midget cars.
Right.
So, and that was, that was one of the features they had. I mean, they did so many different things as far as they had the pro stocks.
Right, modified, which was they were allowed to change, the engines and so forth, and they took street stock cars and dolled them up,
Yeah.
But the midgets were very dangerous, and then it lasted a few years.
Yeah.
You can kind of get the sense of it, and the demolition derbies too,
Oh yeah, well you could tell by some of the crashes and whatnot that.
Cool. It was exciting. There was only one time I really had a hard time when one of the cars that I drove, I had a fire.
So now there's actually some famous names in the racing business in racing industry that came out of Norwood area, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually two very good stories in this. That we covered. One of them is Pete Hamilton, and a lot of people who follow NASCAR are aware that Pete Hamilton won the 1970 Daytona 500. Now, if you didn't know that, I just told that to you, and if you want to learn more, come to our movie. But Pete, to just kind of give you the backstory, 1970, NASCAR was organized in 1948, just a few months before the Norwood Arena track opened. And the reason why NASCAR was created was to unify rules and create level competition. It's a privately held industry to this day. So to win the Daytona is a very, very big deal. He is from Newton Needham, basically. And when we say grew up in Norwood, he was part of this group called the Gasoline Alley in Needham. And his dad was the dean of the business school at Northeast University. He was not happy that he was going to do this. And he had a really, really good career. He also won both Talladega races in 1970. So from our little Route 1 track in our little movie, we have a national champion of the Daytona 500.
Wow, very nice. And we also have another famous person that associated with the NASCAR that came out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Don McTavish.
Don McTavish.
So now McTavish's story doesn't have a happy ending. But he was the national champion in 1966, and then he got a chance to go to south to Daytona, and he would run demolition derbies all over the country. He was the national champ at demo derbies to get money to put into race cars. He snuck over to Norwood when he was like underage, lied about his age, got into the track, started banging up the cars, getting the prize money. And then he went all over the East Coast and raced. And then he got a chance to go to Daytona also. And he's on the Daytona track, and he gets killed right on ABC Wild World of Sports.
Oh.
So these guys are the bookends of the movie. One man lives his dream, the other dies trying. It's a compelling story.
It really is.
And in between, there are all these other great characters, and they're champions in their own right. Leo Clary, a guy by the name of Bug Stevens, George Savory. They had a whole region, and they went to tracks all over the country.
Right.
And then we have Dick Berggren, who was a famous announcer. He's in the movie, and he was on Fox and ESPN for many years. Recently retired, so he has a great background as to the behind the scenes. That he was the pit announcer. So we have really professional people.
Well, that's good. Tell us a little bit about you guys as far as contact information for you guys. How would do you have a website for it?
Yep. Our webpage is norwoodarenamovie.com. and you can hit us on Facebook. It's Facebook.com/Norwood Arena Movie. And those are, they're linked, you'll find some links there to the theater. You'll see some links to our trailer. One of the things that we did for the movie is I have a 1967 Dodge Coronet RT. I've had it for 25 years. It's a 440 cubic inch, 4-speed. It's a really cool car. And pace cars back in the track time were ad cars for the local dealership.
That's right.
And what we did is we had Crivello Signs in Norwood take that photograph and reproduce the livery, and we put it on the car. And we were invited to come down to Thompson Speedway in Connecticut in April for their icebreaker. And we shot some video with a GoPro and an iPhone 5S, and we integrated some of that video into the film. And what we've created really is the living, what's left of Norwood Arena. Our stories and people, but here's a car that you might believe it's crawling out of the past, and it's in front of you right now, and it's pretty slick. So you'll see some trailer. You can click on that and see.
And the
some
trailer
footage.
is also available on YouTube. It's widely publicized. We can't fit it all in one show because it's just you've got so much information here. You've got posters and things that you probably never thought existed.
Right. Oh yes, we have a lot of. As I've uncovered people and they've introduced me to other people, I found somebody whose father built the track, and it turns out that not only were there racing there, they used the theater all the time for other things. There was concerts, there was boxing. Tommy McNeely fought for the middleweight championship. He fought at Norwood Arena. There was pro wrestling. There was women's wrestling. A guy wrestled an alligator. There was model airplane races. I mean, they used the track for
Fireworks.
concerts, fireworks, carnivals.
Billy Burr Funorama.
That's right.
And how about this? Johnny Most was a part-time track announcer from 63 to 66, I think.
Right.
And when we talked to Gil Santos about that, we're not there to talk about Patriots. We're talking about the broadcasting world,
Right.
and he knows all the bigs. Of course, they were his contemporaries like Freddie Cusick, John Pearson, Kurt Gowdy, and we hit him with Johnny Most. And did you know that he worked? Of course I did.
And Route 1, which is where this was. I mean, the official name of Route 1 is Boston Providence Turnpike because that was the road.
Right.
Okay, 95 wasn't there then in the early going, and it came on. But I mean, Norwood was the main thoroughfare from Boston to Providence. So you had a lot of, and it was it was a good location. You had a lot of everything set it up. I mean, Norwood was set up around, it was great the way with the car dealers and everything else. So it worked out well.
I have to say that the movie itself has all the emotions. There's some melancholy there. There are a lot of people that have passed away, and there are people talking about their relatives and friends who died. But there are also these inspirational moments of people they went on to win big, and then they sort of talk about the good old days, and how it was a family atmosphere, and that was the place to be on a Saturday night. So you get a whole sense of history. Plus, it's not a movie about racing. That's my point. Yeah. It's a movie about a bunch of people. It's a people movie, and they did these great things, and it's just very interesting, and it just exceeded our expectations.
Oh, I believe me. I think you're going to exceed even more once we hit September 20th, it's going to be a fantastic movie, and I think it's a great project, and a couple of hardworking guys here.
But after the fact, we'll probably, thanks to corporate sponsors like Norwood Light Broadband and some of the other partners that we have, we'll have, for Christmas, the plan is to have DVDs available, for gifts, but before Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people are calling for them already, and people want to sell them for us and distribute it. And we are entering some film festivals. Part of the reason we're only having one night only is because there's specific rules, and then there's some documentary film festivals that we'd like to present our movie to, if the jury picks us. So we have we're allowed pretty much one or two shows, and then we meet the criteria, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And then after NorwoodArenaMovie.com, check it out. I mean, this is trust me, even if you don't know what it is or where it is, you're going to love this, because this is Americana at its finest. This was the thing to do at the time to do it. So again, this is Norwood Arena, the movie, and you got to check it out. I know it'll bring back so many memories, or it'll either that or it'll turn you on to something you couldn't believe existed around here.
That's right.
And so they've got everybody covered. So again, I want to thank you for spending a little time with us, gentlemen, and thank you folks at home. Again, my name is Dan Pascucci. You've been watching Kitchen Sink TV. And again, we'll see you soon on next time. I'm Dan Pascucci, and thank you very much for spending time with us.